Hi there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. I'm Gavcrimson, back again to tell you about a film few of you will probably have ever heard of, and probably few of you will ever give a flying fuck about. Now, the roots of British exploitation cinema can be traced back to the explosion of films about British nudist camps. These films first appeared in the late 1950s, and towards the end of that decade and well on into the 1960s, these films must have felt like an unstoppable force of naturism, as from Land's End to John O'Groats, British flea pit cinemas played host to the likes of Naked as Nature Intended, Nudes of the World, The Reluctant Naturist, Eves on Skis, and the film I want to pay particular attention to in this video, My Bare Lady. There were dozens of these films around back then. Arguably though, you only really need to see the opening scene of Carry On Camping, in which Sid James and Bernard Bresslaw drag their reluctant girlfriends along to a cinema that is showing Nudist Paradise, the very first British nudist film. And that scene really gives you an idea of what these films were about and why people flocked to see nudist films. And it clearly wasn't because the British public had this sudden and genuine interest in nudism. It was clearly just an excuse for the real life Sid Jameses and Bernard Breslaws to ogle some bare female flesh, as well as have a laugh at the expense of some daft posh people who were taking off their clothes and making fools of themselves on the big screen. The lengthy shelf life of these films speaks for itself, and although production of this type of film began to go into decline in the mid-60s, several of these films continued to play for many years later. Up until the late 60s, members of the British public were still creeping into the back rows of their local cinemas in order to masturbate themselves senseless to the likes of Take Off Your Clothes and Live and Some Like It Cool. British nudist films were also a successful export, enough so that in 1962 a bunch of American filmmakers even decided to come over here and make their very own British nudist film. This resulted in My Bare Lady, a film whose title is clearly punning on My Fair Lady. The mastermind behind My Bare Lady was Dick Randall, one of the truly colourful characters of exploitation film cinema, who in a globe-trotting, decades-long career as a film producer made Mondo films, horror films, kung fu films starring men who were meant to but didn't really look like Bruce Lee, disaster films, slasher films, white Emmanuel rip-offs, black Emmanuel rip-offs, rip-offs of Emmanuel that didn't actually feature characters called Emmanuel, women in prison films, women out of prison films. Suffice to say, Randall worked in every conceivable form of exploitation film subgenre, and possibly invented a few of his own along the way. Right from the get-go, Randall's sense of humour is really in evidence in My Bare Lady. He had a talent for inventing hilarious pseudonyms for people who worked on his films, but who didn't want their actual names used in them. I can't imagine why. And would later go on to make films starring the suspiciously named likes of Boris Lugosi, Ruddy Valentino and Chick Norris. The opening credits of My Bare Lady throw open a number of other suspicious names. Dubbing by Levers Rich, settings by Mother Nature, produced by Phineas Lone Star Jr. and introducing Nina Huntrados. Now, I'd be inclined to think Nina Huntrados was an actual name if the actress in question was a hip-swaying, sultry Spanish or Mexican woman. But as the person in question in this film is actually a elderly grey-haired Scottish woman, I'm inclined to think Nina Huntrados isn't her actual name. You don't generally tend to meet a lot of grey-haired old Scottish ladies who are called Nina Huntrados, do you? Thankfully, My Bare Lady isn't one of those adult films that puns on the title of a mainstream film and doesn't follow through with it in the film itself. My Bare Lady does sort of take the premise of My Fair Lady, and therefore Pygmalion, and relocate it to a British nudist camp setting. Sadly, unlike My Fair Lady, the budget of My Bare Lady didn't stretch to any musical numbers. Although, if you really want to see a British nudist film that has musical numbers in it, I'll instead have to point you in the direction of the 1960 film, For Members Only. My Bare Lady's answer to Eliza Doolittle is Tina Murray, an American woman enjoying a bicycling holiday in rural England, and encountering a fair share of culture shock along the way. As you might expect from a film made in Britain by American filmmakers, My Bare Lady can't help but poke fun at the differences that exist between the two cultures, and that the filmmakers themselves probably encountered along the way. When Tina wanders into a traditional British pub and attempts to order a Pepsi and a hamburger, she is met with confusion from the man behind the bar, who instead tries to sell her on the idea of ordering a simple pot of tea and a pasty instead, which confuses the hell out of Tina, who's never heard of these strange pasty things before. Thankfully, a helpful couple, Mrs. Darwell and an American ex-serviceman called Pat, are on hand to explain to Tina what exactly a pasty is, as well as attempt to take her under their wing. Pat and Mrs. Darwell are of course nudists, with an eye on trying to convert Tina to their cause. For a film made at the tail end of the nudist film genre, My Fair Lady does take its time in revealing what their intentions actually are. Indeed, for a time it feels like there could be a more sinister motive for why they want to divert Tina away from her planned bicycling holiday and instead get her to spend time at Camp Hamilton, with Mrs. Darwell's Scottish accent and grey hair giving her a bit of a Sheila Keith House of Whipcord vibe to her. The big reveal, however, when it comes, is priceless and justifies the build-up, as Tina finally discovers the truth about Camp Hamilton when the milkman turns up in the morning wearing a cap, an apron, and very little else. So the cat is out of the bag. Camp Hamilton is a nudist camp, and if the sight of a bare-ass milkman wasn't enough to tip you off, Tina then has an encounter with a fully nude Pat, who sticks his head through a chalet window wearing nothing but a smile, the sight of which causes poor Tina to faint. I don't know whether Pat should take that as an insult or a compliment. Anyhow, the influence of Pygmalion then starts to kick in, as Pat attempts to tutor Tina in nudist camp etiquette, only to be met with strong resistance from the uptight and repressed Tina. Given the culture clash elements from earlier on in the film, you can't help thinking that it was a missed opportunity to have had Tina portray the British character. Her aloof and bookwormish character are ones that audiences of the time, especially American audiences, would have more associated with a British woman rather than an American one. It should be mentioned that Tina is actually played by a British actress called Julie Martin, who sports a put-on American accent in this film. Martin's other Brit Sleaze credit from this period was a supporting role in the 1963 shocker The Yellow Teddy Bears. Her co-star Carl Conway was, on the other hand, a natural American and seems to have been a bit of the go-to guy when it came to playing Americans in British nudist films. His previous form in the genre included playing the lead role in the first British nudist film, Nudist Paradise, so it seems appropriate that he should be recalled for this, one of the last British nudist films of the 1960s. Conway is highly likeable and extremely value for money in these films, cast as lustful, all-American horn dogs let loose amongst these stuffy asexual Brit nudists, and frequently sports a slightly deranged, ready-for-sex facial expression. If they gave out awards for the most depraved-looking facial expressions in films, then Carl Conway would have surely swept the board for this performance in 1962. My Fair Lady may be one of the few nudist films to tackle a serious subject, for Pat is a Korean War veteran who is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. A theory that a film seems to be trying to float is that living in a nudist camp may be a better way for ex-servicemen to readjust to normality, rather than simply being thrown into the deep end of civilian life. It's a theory that probably doesn't hold up under much serious scrutiny, but who knows, maybe if John Rambo had wandered into a British nudist camp in First Blood, rather than a small American town run by a bigoted sheriff, maybe he wouldn't have gone so apeshit. If I had to speculate as to who this film was really aimed at, it wouldn't be genuine nudists. In fact, the target audience for this film seems to have been American servicemen. It's very patriotic. At one point, Tina refers to Pat as a grinning maniac and is reprimanded by Mrs. Darwell, who reminds her that that so-called grinning maniac was one of your heroes during the Korean War. There's also a lengthy 20-minute flashback sequence depicting the French holiday of two relatively minor characters in this film, as they walk around just about every conceivable Parisian landmark you can think of, including, as is the nature of this film, a visit to a French striptease club and a visit to a French nudist camp. The Parisian travelogue, along with the ample displays of bare-naked English and French women we meet in this film, do seem calculated to evoke in ex-servicemen the more pleasanter memories they must have had of the Second World War, as a time when a generation of American men first got their chance to feast their eyes on the delights of Paris, first got their chance to feast their eyes on the delights of pasty-skinned English women, and maybe even enjoyed a bit of with French women along the way. As to whether My Fair Lady is one of the high points or low points of the nudist camp genre, it's hard to say really. This is a very samey genre. British nudist films are a bit like recent Steven Seagal films. Once you've seen about half a dozen of these things, they all just tend to blur together in the imagination as one big whole. I will say though that, for your average Joe laying down some hard-earned bucks to see a nudist film in 1962, this film would have met with all their expectations. Dick Randall may have shortchanged a number of people during his career, including the taxman allegedly, but exploitation movie-going audiences were not among them. As for the British nudist film itself, well, after My Fair Lady it was put out to pasture for many years. It wouldn't be until the 1980s that the genre was revived, this time by genuine nudists, who put together their own little nudist film called Educating Julie, whose title is a play on the smash hit film Educating Rita. Proof that all these years after My Fair Lady and Dick Randall, even genuine nudists couldn't resist a cheeky pun at the expense of a much more highly regarded film. Anyway, that's your lot, so all that remains for me to say is good night and God bless.